There's going to be a lot of movement, a lot of shaking, a lot of shifting about of a lot of these teams. But my 4 teams of the last 4 in, I have some interesting programs, say the least, but they all have some work to do, and they all have noticeable flaws as well that they're trying to mask before the selection committee in Indianapolis sets, vets, and scrubs the field. So, Horvey, are you ready to live in Bubbleville, my man?
Let's do it.
All right, my very first or safest team among the last 4 in. All right. The Fighting Matthew McConaughey's and the University of Texas Longhorns. And here is the reason why. You look at the record, it's not the greatest. 15-10 overall. But Texas, a team that's number 33 right now in the net. Okay, nothing to scoff at there. They play the 20th hardest overall strength of schedule. Nothing to scoff at there. The issue, when you start peeling back the layers of the onion, the non-conference strength of schedule is number 279. That's an eyesore. That's a blight. That is something that is going to show up on those team cards when they slide across the computer screens in the selection committee room. And there's going to be a conversation, discussion around that. That is a weak point. The decent 3-4 record straight up on the road this season, only 3-8 against quadrant 1 competition. They just got absolutely destroyed by Alabama at home. They are number 36 in Bar-Turviker last month. But you look at the advanced analytics, 300 over that span in EFG offense. Yikes. And they're number 211, double yikes, in EFG defense. Here's the schedule remaining. Kentucky at home. Big one there in Austin. Then at South Carolina, at Arkansas. You want to talk about a bubble-licious matchup.
Yeah.
That's with the Arkansas Razorbacks. That one on the road in Fayetteville. Then they play Georgia, at Mississippi State, and Oklahoma. I think realistically, you got 6 games left at a minimum. I think UT has got to go 3-3 if they want to go in to Selection Sunday, not having to apply that extra layer of Old Spice. What say you about the University of Texas Longhorns, Horvey?
I agree. The rest of the way, man, they probably have to play 500 ball, 3-3, maybe even 4-2, just because you look at the way that some of these teams are trending. What they have going for them is obviously they're in the toughest conference. I love Trey Johnson, by the way. I want to see that kid playing in the tournament, averaging nearly 20 a game. I just thought I thought the Alabama game was a great opportunity because I thought you were going to have your classic look-ahead spot for Bama with Auburn on deck. And Texas really needed one. Instead, they lose that one. Now, all of a sudden, they've lost 4 of their last 5 games, and that's what scares me a little bit. Still, like you said, though, 7-9 against the top 3 quadrants. So as long as they go 3-3, 4-2, I think they're definitely in. I think they got a shot at the tourney. And I like this team enough, but they've let me down the last couple times. I did take the points against Bama, so they're on my list right now of teams that have let me down here in the last 7 days. But I still like Texas, man. I'm not in love with them.
Yeah, they got a lot of must-win situations upcoming. They cannot stub their toe a multitude of times, to say the least. And probably going to win at least a game in the Big 12 conference tournament as well if they play 500 ball here down the home stretch. Let's go to the SEC, which we were already in with Texas, and go to another team. And the Bulldogs, that's the University of Georgia, decent overall record at 16-9, but the resume's got some warts. They're number 35 in it. Okay, not bad. 25 in terms of overall strength of schedule, also not bad. But like Texas, that non-con ain't the greatest. At number 236, they're only 1-6 in true road games this year. They're only 2-9 against quadrant 1 competition outside the top 50 at 51 in Bar-Turviker last month. 310 in EFG offense, barf. 141 in EFG defense, a little bit better there, but still work to do. They're next up, the rest of the regular season in the SEC. Missouri at home. Another big game there at Auburn. Okay, they're going to get their asses kicked in that one. Florida at home. Golden opportunity. You got to hold home court at Texas. Another bubble-licious matchup at South Carolina and Vandy. And Vandy right now, one of my first 4 safe teams in terms of bye weeks in the tournament, but that's a big one as well at home. So Georgia's got 6 games left. I think at a minimum you're looking at 3-3. They have got to acquire more quadrant 1s because that 1-6 true road record is ugly, Horvat.
Yeah, the 1-6 true road record, and that's why I don't trust this team, and that's why that was such a big game at home to Mississippi State. I feel like that's one that you had to have. Now, if they go 3-3, like I said, 4-2, they're definitely in. I don't see it happening, though. If I were to place a bet on Georgia, I would probably pick them to miss, man. 2-8 against quad one opponents. You brought up this stretch. Florida's going to be tough, obviously. So, yeah, if I had to place a bet on Georgia, I would have them out. Now watch, they'll probably rattle off like they'll go 5-1 in their next 6, but I don't see it with Georgia this year. A good team, just loaded conference and not a great team.
Yeah, it's a weak bubble, though, man. It may not take much when you're playing the SEC to bounce off the bubble and earn that at-large and your way into the field. Let's go to BYU out of the Big 12. 16-8 overall. Next up, and my last 4 in, so the second to last team in. Number 39 overall in the net. They're number 58 in terms of the schedule, again, which is consistent as a black eye for all these teams. 292 in non-conference strength of schedule. That's hideous. They're 3-5 in true road games. Not terrible, but also not great. 3-5 in quadrant one games. They're number 30 in BARTs over the last 30 days. Okay, that's a plus. Yeah. 17 in the nation over that stretch in EFG offense. Outstanding, but 238 in EFG defense. So that has been a weak point for them. It's challenging and contesting shots. They finished with Kansas State, bubblicious matchup at home this weekend. Kansas at home, winnable game. Could really tilt the scales in their favor. At Arizona, another big game. At Arizona State, West Virginia, at Iowa State, and Utah. So of the 7 games remaining, what you're aiming for is a 4-3 record, win 1 game of the Big 12 tournament. I think BYU is going to find a way to get in. And who doesn't want to see Igor Denman in the NCAA tournament? I certainly want to. A guy that a lot of projection services still have as a forecasted NBA lottery pick. Your thoughts on the Pride of Provo?
Yeah, love Igor, by the way. So big win against West Virginia the other night on Tuesday night. All these days kind of blend in. They get a 4-point win. Before that, though, they really fell apart in the second half against Cincy. And that was a tough loss right there. But the win over West Virginia, obviously really big. They're going to have to probably win 3 games here down the stretch, and I like them to do that. I think they probably upset Kansas or Kansas State, at least one of those 2 teams. So I think BYU does find a way to get in. I like them quite a bit out of all these. I mean, the 2 SEC teams are better teams, but I do think that BYU probably has a better shot to get in.
Yeah, I think I saw them yesterday. They were plus 135 to make the NCAA tournament. I'm just like, that's
I'd take some of that.
Yeah, I 100% take some of that. I think they will find their way in, and I believe this last team's going to find a way in as well. That is the Arkansas Razorbacks. We thought were DOA just weeks ago, but they have sprung to life here down the home stretch. The Fighting Coach Cows. Now, they have one of the most expensive NIL rosters in all of college basketball. They got to live up to the expectations. They're not really doing so right now at 15-9 overall. But the number 41 in the net, they played the 27th hardest strength of schedule, better non-conference compared to some of the other bubble members at 149 that category. 3-3 in true road games. Okay, a decent record there. 3-7 against quadrant one competition. Also not too shabby. 45 in Torvik over last month, but only 254 EFG offense, 154 in EFG defense. They finished with at Texas A&M, quadrant one opportunity. At Auburn, obvious quadrant one opportunity. They could be back-to-back L's there, but they could recuperate those missed opportunities with back-to-back wins at home against quality opponents, being Missouri and the Texas Longhorns. And I think that Texas game is one's going to tilt the scales one direction or the other. Then at South Carolina, at Vanderbilt, Mississippi State. So of their remaining 7 games, how many does Arkansas got to win if they're going dancing?
I'm going to say at least 4. I think that you have to at least beat one of these ranked teams, right? You got A&M on the road on Saturday, like you said. Then you get Auburn. Good luck. I feel like you almost have to split. And then you get Missouri after that. And you get Missouri at home. So as long as you win that one, you take care of business against Texas, South Carolina, Vandy, and and Mississippi State to close out the season for Arkansas. I think they get in. I've been kind of on that page all season long, though, with Cal. Cal teams always get better the second half of the season. Like, he doesn't even put his defense in on some of his sets until the second half. Not that they run a whole lot. But I would say that they get in. I don't expect them to do a whole lot once they do get in, though. Really expensive roster. I like Cal, but, I like Cal, the recruiter, more than I do the coach at this stage of his career. So I think they get in, but I don't think they'd make any noise when they do get to the tournament.
Well, it's all going to come down to John L. Davis. What version is going to show up? Because when he does arrive in games and he's scoring 20, 25 points in a game, he's certainly capable of being that microwave oven. You'll see the player that we all saw at FAU, right, in that Final Four team. There's Zvonimir Ivisic, Tomislav's twin brother. He's a stretch big, beat you inside, outside. He's a supreme rim protector. I mean, I like the personnel that they have, but they're just so woefully inconsistent. But I'm with you. I think they got to get at least another 2 to 3 quarter ones on the resume if they're going to have their name called on Selection Sunday.